Life isn't fair. You've probably heard that several times. It makes us feel better when things don't go our way. It's not our fault if the odds are stacked against us, right? But on the other hand, there's also another saying that you've heard a lot. If you work hard and strive to be a good person, things will work out in the end. But these two things don't seem very compatible. They can't both be true, so which one is it? The workplace is a perfect microcosm to observe how the world really works. Imagine two people. Let's call them Jeff and Fred. Jeff's a great guy. He's cheerful, he's kind, he's patient, and attentive to his colleagues. He's always the first person in the office every morning and often the last to leave. Jeff aggressively pursues taking part in the hardest projects to develop his skills or to help his teammates, only occasionally backing off when he feels he needs some time to relax and recuperate before sprinting again. He's dedicated to the people on his team, even missing an office team building event at an escape room so that he could help one of the new guys move in. By every measurable metric and some immeasurable, Jeff is the most productive employee for someone of his experience level. His work ethic and assertiveness are appreciated, and his boss is generally receptive to his ideas. Then there's Fred. Fred is an asshole. Remember the class clown back in school? Well, now he has an office job, and this was one of the funny guys who was also a bully. He's confident, loud, and abrasive, all while making jokes that aren't really jokes at the expense of others. You always know when this guy is in the room. Fred doesn't do a lot of work when he's at work, but he'll always raise his hand for large, visible projects that his boss is invested in. He'll always look busy, and he'll be sure that everyone knows how overloaded with work he is. It's mostly exaggeration, but lying is second nature to Fred. He often embellishes the facts or misrepresents figures to get supervisor approval for different projects. He's careful not to lie about anything that's easily debunked, but he's so competent in his deception that if he is ever caught, he can easily gaslight his colleagues into assuming he misspoke or that maybe they themselves are wrong about a project's details. Fred only really cares about himself and his own career. He left a new guy in the office on red when he wanted advice about apartment shopping. Instead, he went to a dinner party that he knew some of the business executives would be at. Both Jeff and Fred were hired within 4 months of each other. Next month, a promotion opens up in their department. Who do you think will get promoted? Now, this is a bit of an oversimplification, and we already know who should get the promotion, but what's the real answer? If you're an adult with a few years of working experience, you've probably seen a few Jeffs and a few Freds, and so you know how this plays out. A lot of us grew up thinking that the world is perfectly meritocratic, as in you'll be proportionally rewarded based on the results you achieve or the work that you put in. Real life is not like this, however. The first problem is that hard work does not necessarily mean good work. You could spend 12 hours with no breaks and do an okay job, and then someone else finishes the same task in only 6 hours and they did awesome. No matter how much blood, sweat, and tears you spill, if someone can do the same job as you faster or better in the same time, they're better than you. The second problem is our own inability to properly see reality. Just because you think you did the best, it doesn't mean that you did. Perception changes everything. Maybe Jeff is doing a lot of top-notch behind-the-scenes work that is integral for business function, but not very visible from a management level, while Fred is making sure to only work on the highest profit projects or cherry-pick easy tasks that raise his numbers quickly. This leads us to the old adage, perception is reality. Well, reality is reality, and we just proved that our perceptions can be skewed. But a far more useful way to think of it is that others' perceptions of you are a part of your performance. At the end of the day, if Fred is respected in the office, it doesn't matter how he got that perception. He will be judged based on that perception. whether that's from his peers, his subordinates, or his leadership, which of course is the demographic the Freds tend to care the most about. You might be thinking to yourself, I'm not like Fred, or this isn't a popularity contest. I want to focus on doing well, not looking good. You think this way because your heart is in the right place. You want the world to work the way that it should, as much as a meritocracy as possible. It's a noble way to view the world, but it's a fantasy. You can pat yourself on the back for only doing the right thing, but the game of life will go on without you. You just put the controller down. History doesn't remember good intentions, only good outcomes. It's not that nice guys finish last, it's more that people who identify with niceness as their main quality often never succeed. So now, assholes like Fred will win, climbing their way up the corporate ladder to become managers and executives, and now 1,000 people at your organization suffer because of it. Or you could play the game too. I'm not telling you to lie to your supervisor or manipulate your colleagues with every conversation and interaction. Only a sociopath can sustain that, and I would rather sleep at night. But how about letting your teammate finish some of the crappy, mundane parts of a project for a change while you go have a follow-up conversation with the boss about your most recent invisible task? You could use some of your overtime to organize an office party, and when you miss it because you're helping the new guy move in, take a picture, post it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you use, and tag the whole damn office at the party. And when Fred or anyone else at the office tells a really awful joke, laugh as wholeheartedly as you can. You never know when you might need their support. Do these things not because you're a manipulative villain, but because you're a good person who's in it for the right reasons. So we need you to win. Face it, if you don't find a way to play the game, then the Freds of the world will win. Do they deserve it? Well, that kind of depends who you ask. At the end of the day, good intentions and positive morals don't always pay the bills, and clinging to them often comes from our egos wanting a pat on the back. Succumbing to this part of your ego will make you weak and ineffective, always a runner-up and lacking the power to do your best for yourself and others. You only have one life to live. Grow it relentlessly.